Okay, so today we have a seller finance 101, why you should consider seller finance, as a tool in your toolbox rather than just only looking at the cash offer route. So let's do a seller finance 101. What is seller finance? Why is it useful to have? And why should you be paying attention to this? So seller financing 101. Okay, let's take, for example, you got two properties, same value, 250 is the value here. That is the value, right? 250, same property. One has no mortgage. One has a $150,000 mortgage, for example. Now, seller finance really only makes sense when there's no mortgage on the property. Now, you could do hybrid deals where you introduce a subject to on the mortgage aspect, and you sellerify the rest. That gets a bit too complicated. It's still doable, but there's a lot more scenarios where, let's say it's an older owner. They own the property outright for a long time. They have no reason to sell. This is a big one. They have no reason to sell. They've owned it for a long time. Property's paid off. They're in retirement age. Let's say that's a situation. That's a lot of the seller situation here, right? So let's say two properties, both $250,000 worth of value. Let's compare a cash deal to make this work as a cash deal versus a seller finance deal. So $250 retail value, $250,000 retail value. As a wholesaler, on a cash offer, you would have to be close to 200K cash to make any kind of money on this. You'd have to be coming in at around 200K cash to make any sort of deal. Bring in, after capital gains tax to the seller, they'd probably net somewhere around 180. So that's the cash route. Now let's compare a good seller finance term route. Property's worth 250, so you can even offer them $300,000. You can offer them more than what the property's worth if you get good terms. So what do good terms look like? Okay, let's say $300,000 with 10% down. Remember, they have no reason to sell. They're older. They're looking for some retirement income, etc. This could be something for them. $300,000, 10% down. That's $30K down. $290 on a seller note at 6% interest only. I like using the interest only method because to me it's more of an incentive for the owner. You could do this amortized, but I like using a interest only. So let's say 290,000 times 0.06 is 17,400 per year divided by 12. That's $1,450 a month payment with a 15-year balloon. So let's say you're paying this seller $1,450 every month. That's 6% interest only on your 290 note. Now the big key part about this is how long are you holding this balloon? If it's a 15-year, yeah, I'll 100% pay 30, over market value, 300K. I'll pay the interest only if I have a 15-year balloon. Now what is the seller getting? He's getting all that interest payment, so he's getting 17,400 times 15. He's getting 260,000 worth of interest over the 15 years. You're still going to owe this guy 290 at the end of the 15 years. You're going to still owe him, but the property appraised value will have appreciated so much in that 15 years that the property will probably be worth closer to 500 grand, 550. And at that point, let's say it's appraised at 500 grand. Then you go and you bring this to a bank to refinance at, let's say 75%, you bring to a bank, that's $375,000 worth of value. You can pay off that note, no problem, and have some cash left over. So what's the benefit to the seller? Well, he's making almost 3x what he would on a cash sale, 180 versus 580 doing a seller finance on this note, where he's getting 30 grand down payment. He's getting 260 worth of interest over the 15 years, and he's getting the $290,000 balloon, the note due at the end of the 15 years. So the seller's making triple what he would if he sold on cash. Now, where would this make the most sense? Well, when they're older, they've owned it for a long time, they have no mortgage, they have no reason to sell, really. They'd rather just, it doesn't matter. They're not going to fire sale it on a cash deal. This is interesting to them. They make a lot more money on their investment. Property's paid off, and they're looking for some retirement income. They would definitely benefit off $1,400 a month. If the property's not doing nothing or whatever, they don't have to manage it. It's a no-brainer to them. Makes a lot of sense to them. So that's definitely a good reason to keep this in your toolbox. Now, I will say this does get even more interesting when you look at larger properties. Let's say on some good multifamily deals. Now, this is where it gets fun. You take a multifamily building, let's say, for example, 10 units. Same scenario, basically. Let's say the market value is $1 million. Purchase it for $1 million. Now, these are on the seller finance terms. 10% down, 100K, 900,000 at 6% interest only for 7 years. Now, some of these some of these people might not want to do it for 15 years on a balloon. They might want a shorter 7 years, which is still fine, which is still doable. You just have to have a more awareness on the exit plan when you refinance with the bank, that is, to pay off this balloon. So let's say you get a good down payment, 10% down, 100K, 900,000, 6% IO for 7 years. Let's say, here's the exit plan, refinance in 7 years. Now this total value is what they would get at the end of the 7 years. So 900,000 times 0.06 is 54,000 a year in interest. That's what they're making. That's pretty good. Times 7 is $378,000 worth of interest they'll get over the 7 years, plus 900 grand, 1.278 plus 100K down payment. In total, they're going to be making 1.378 total over the 7 years. Now the property's worth $1 million, so they'll get 1.378, almost $1.4 million for a property worth $1 million. And then that's the pitch to them. That's the pitch. Hey, look, remember, similar scenario, older owner, if they have it paid off, no reason to sell. But hey, if they are going to sell, why don't I maximize your value for you? And why don't we do something like this where it benefits you, benefits me? Let's say they took that same property on a cash deal to make it work as a cash deal. Property's worth $1 million. On a cash deal, for someone to make some money on it, they'd have to offer somewhere around the 750 mark to make any kind of money. If it's worth retail value $1 million, they'd have to offer 750. Now, with a 20% cap gain tax, they sell it for 750 cash, let's say. They're really only walking away with 600,000, right? So that's a 2x. That's a 2x difference here. 1.378 versus 600,000. Seller fibers cash 2x. That's huge. That's massive. So when you're looking at all these deals and saying, "Oh, I can only do cash offers, etc.," you got other tools, buddy. You got seller finance. Now we can get into subject to for a later video, and that's when there's a mortgage on the property. Let's say that the property is worth $250, and they got $150,000 mortgage. Now you can do something similar with something called subject to, but for right now we're just talking about seller finance, and this is how it's beneficial. Let's talk the exit plan. Let's say we got a 7-year balloon. Property value in 7 years. Let's say you think it's going to be, with the rental increases that you can do, the forced appreciation, it can be worth closer to 1.5. Now you have to know this going into some of these larger deals. You have to have a plan of forced appreciation, especially in the shorter balloons, because you're going to have to go and get a bank loan in 7 years or whatever it is, 5 years. So you have to have a clear path to force appreciation on this asset. And it's the only way it's going to work, even if you get great terms. You still got a balloon to pay at the end of the day. So let's say you can force it to 1.5 million, and at the end of the 7 years, you're going to take out a 75% bank loan. That would be 1 million and 125. So that will more than cover the balloon, the 900 that's owed, and that will also cover any down payment lenders. If you're bringing on lenders for that 100K, they'll cover everything. So as long as you got a good deal, a good exit, force appreciation exit, you got the property for free. So let's say the money's owed, 900K balloon plus down payment lender. If there's any owed still, if you're not paying them out of cash flow and kind of paying them down in that way, end result, you get a free property plus the cash flow throughout all those times, all those years. And if you can cash everyone out, you get this property for free. And then you just keep, you put a new bank debt on it, a new loan, new monthly payment, and you keep the property. That's how you get into larger assets without any, cash, anything. You structure good terms. You raise the money you need to raise, and you exit the property, put into bank debt, and guess what? You got the property now. So this is a short summary on seller financing and why you need to know it, and how it can help you in your business. Now, if you're thinking, wholesale is an entry-level way to get into real estate. Now, if you really want to do real estate and you really want to make money, you have to start owning real estate, and this is a great method for that, for ownership, especially on the entry-level stages, because you don't need that much money as long as you know how to structure deals. So this is, I think this is a lot of situations with sellers right now that, they don't have any reason to sell it necessarily. Let's say the property's paid off. This is a great method, and you should absolutely be using this, in your toolbox. So, yeah, let me know what you think. Thanks.